Have you ever stopped for a moment and asked yourself a simple question? Is this really how life is supposed to feel? Rushing from one task to another, constant noise, endless notifications, a mind that never truly rests. Many people today wake up already tired, not because their bodies are exhausted, but because their minds never had a chance to be still, and they begin to wonder, why does life feel so heavy? Let me share something I once learned many years ago. When I was a young monk, I believed that peace would come only after I had mastered meditation, discipline, and wisdom. I thought that calmness was something I needed to achieve through great effort. But one evening, my teacher took me on a walk through the mountains behind our monastery. The sun was beginning to set, and the valley below was silent. The only sound was the wind moving gently through the trees. We walked for a long time without speaking. Eventually I asked him, "Master, why does it feel so peaceful here?" He smiled and replied with a question of his own. "Why do you think peace is rare where people live?" I thought for a moment, but I had no answer. So he sat down on a large stone and looked across the mountains. Then he said something that stayed with me for the rest of my life. Human beings were not meant to live in constant noise, constant hurry, and constant distraction. When you force the mind to live this way, it slowly forgets how to be at peace. And suddenly I began to understand something. Look at nature for a moment. The river flows without rushing. The trees grow without stress. The sun rises each morning without being late. Yet human beings live as if every second is a race, always chasing something. More success, more productivity, more distractions. But very few people stop and ask themselves an important question. What exactly are we running toward? Many people spend years climbing a mountain only to realize they never chose the mountain in the first place. This is why so many people feel lost. Not because they are weak, not because they lack discipline, but because they have been living according to expectations that were never truly theirs. When I lived in the city before becoming a monk, my days were filled with constant activity, work, noise, people moving quickly from one place to another. Everyone looked busy, but if you looked carefully, you could see something in their faces, a quiet exhaustion. Not the kind that sleep can fix, but the kind that comes from living too far away from yourself. So what is the solution? It is not to abandon modern life or escape into the mountains. The lesson is much simpler. You must create space within your life. Space to think, space to breathe, space to remember what truly matters. Even a few moments of silence each day can change the way you experience the world. When the mind slows down, something interesting begins to happen. You notice things you once ignored. The warmth of sunlight, the rhythm of your breathing, the quiet moments between your thoughts, and slowly the mind remembers something it had forgotten. Life was never meant to feel like a constant struggle. It was meant to be experienced, moment by moment. So if today your life feels overwhelming, if your mind feels crowded with worries and endless tasks, pause for a moment. Take a breath and remind yourself of something simple. You were never meant to live in constant noise, constant pressure, and constant distraction. You were meant to live with awareness, and sometimes the first step toward a peaceful life is simply slowing down enough to notice that you already have one.